want to talk about obviously the documentary that probably when this is out, everyone would have got to see. Finding Dad.
Mm.
The first thing that I looked at is the opening scene was quite powerful when you like came to see the photo of your dad. Initially, like, can you convey to us what kind of emotion you felt when you was like opening up the envelope? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it's mad. So right in the beginning of the documentary is where the scene is of me. I've got 3 photos of my dad in an envelope that have been stashed away, and they're being opened for the very first time. I've never seen a picture of my dad in my whole life ever, and I don't know why I've just never felt the need to like have an image of this man because he's been so like alien in my life. So I was like, I don't need to see him. But now when this documentary got commissioned, obviously I had to do that in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And like the emotion, bro, it was like I was scared obviously because I was like, well, I feel like I'm gonna see myself or what I can be or what I'm gonna look like when I'm like 40, 50 years old. Do you know what I'm saying? And that was like it's like a mind fuck in itself, because it's like, what? Because when you've never seen that ever present in your life, and then you get to see that, it's like, wow. But that was like one of the first hurdles that I had to overcome within myself whilst making this. There was like so many more, but that was like the initial one. And I remember when I saw them, I was just like, what? There are similarities and there's differences as well. So that was like, wow, okay.
I mean, you said you didn't know what a dad was like or what a dad is, you know, growing up. And being that you were young, or being at that time you never had a dad, like stepping back into your childhood, what really was that like for you, like going to school, parents' evening, like all those emotions when it's like you see other people there?
Yeah,
like...
I remember parents' evening used to be an interesting one because I'd always have people come with me who was like an auntie or an uncle, or always somebody who was looking after Mim, not necessarily Mim's parents. And then I'd always compare it to other people, and they'd think that this auntie and this uncle are my mum and my dad. So I'd go into school the next day and they'd be like, oh my God, your mum's like this, and oh my God, your dad's like that. And I'm like, nah, that's my auntie and my uncle. And then they'd be like, what? But where's your mum and dad? And this young child couldn't answer that question because he didn't know why his mum and dad were not coming to parents' evening to take him to get reviews of like how he's doing in school. So, but it was a norm for me. It was just the norm. It was just the norm. And then as I grew up older, I used to see like dads playing with their kids and things like that. And I used to just be like, wow, okay, what's that all about? And I don't have no one in my life that does that for me. That's interesting. And then obviously as you grow up, as you grow older, you realise what the definition of a father is and how dads are actually present in kids' lives. Not all the time, but like from the schools that I used to go to, because I went to quite a few different schools in different areas, you could see that people had like a father-son relationship that was very like close, and I could see how it benefited them like in a good way. Like they'll be coming into school and be like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? I'll be like, oh, I'll be at home, family, chilling. I'll be like, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, my dad took me to like go watch the Chelsea game. I'll be like, I wouldn't be able to vocalize this, but I knew internally, I was like, rah, swear, your dad took you to a football game. That's sick, you know, because it's something that I've been alien to and I've not had. So that feeling is more like, wow, okay, that is wicked. We always want things sometimes that we don't necessarily have, and what we have, we don't necessarily appreciate as much.
Facts.
So that was like, wow, okay, I know I want that. Or now as I've grown older into a man, I'm like, I'm going to give my youth that, like 1,000%.
And also I think you say about like you never really got that positive affirmation from like your parents growing up, or let's say like your mum. How does that impact you as a child though?
I think it leads to a lot of confusion, and I think it leads to like the word that I would describe it as like lost, like and your sense of belonging is kind of stretched because you don't really feel like you belong, because you're not getting these positive affirmations like you say from your biological parents. I mean, if dad's not around, you'd expect it maybe from mum, who would play like dad figure. I was lucky in that sense because I had my grandmother who was like she's a queen in regards to like playing paternal and maternal roles for like her grandchild. So I was lucky in that sense, because if I never had her, then it would be a whole different story. I wouldn't be where I am now.
And you can see in the video, the little clip when you go and hug her.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
you're wearing
yeah.
your chain.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're swagging from early. I was like, how does young boy get a chain?
Again, that's me pestering her, going, I've seen this chain in the Argos catalogue, like I want to buy it. And bro, she would get me everything, anything I'd ask for. And I was a spoiled brat. I was such a
But
spoiled
you can
brat.
see the love is so, it's powerful.
Yeah,
bro.
proper.
Yeah.
So I like have a lot to owe to her, man. Like proper.
Yeah, and I think you were saying when she passed on, that's when you became more clear, like you're fending for yourself now in a way. But how does the dynamics at that point when you come to that realization go between your relationship between your mum? Because if your grandma was like almost like dad in a way, wouldn't your mum have been the person that would have been like of equal? Because it seemed like the grandma was more. Do you get
I think
what I'm saying?
it's I think it's different. I think that would definitely be the case in like in a normal household.
Yeah.
But say like my mum is not the most fully functioning individual. Do you get what I'm saying? Due to her like mental health illnesses that she's had from like
Which
a young
we'll get
age.
into, yeah.
So because of that, I think she doesn't have the ability and the capacity within her to be able to be a mother to a child, if that makes sense. Whereas obviously my grandmother went and took that role and made sure it happened.
Your spoken word part, funny enough, like when I was first watching the spoken word segment, the first thing that stuck up in my mind was that am I destined to do bad deeds?
That you know how much that has resonated with so many people.
But then you said it later on. I was thinking like, yo, how did I?
Yeah.
That poem was. When did you first write that? How old were you?
The one that I read in
Yeah.
that was quite recent.
Oh really?
Yeah. That was like during the process of filming. So that was that. You're talking about the scene that I shot on the balcony of my cousin's. Yeah.
You said that you never read this out before.
Yeah. Okay. So I've written parts of that over time in like my little journal, like notebook that I have, and then when I got asked to actually write like a full formed piece for the documentary, I was like, okay, I'm gonna add bits to that, how I was feeling then, and then just going in and collating it all, and then rewriting the whole thing to then go, okay, boom, this fits for this segment of the film. But yeah, it was like a combination of thoughts and feelings from a younger age all the way up until now, but still trying to contextualize it through a 25-year-old speaking that rather than say like a 13-year-old.
What I'm thinking in my head, is why would you think potentially that, like, were you ever like a bit wayward? Because for you to think that, like, am I destined to do bad deeds? Like, what made you feel?
Bro, because if you don't know, if something is so unknown to you and you have no information about something, sometimes it can lead me to go, well, because I don't know this information, I'm a person that, like, my brain works in a way that I love to get all the information and then be able to make my choice and know where I'm going, rather than being told yes or no. I'd rather hear no as well as yes and be able to go, okay, cool, this is what they think, this is what I want to think. If you haven't got access to some form of information in regards to me not having no information to do with my dad, then it led me with the thought of thinking, I don't know this man. I need to be able to find this man, know what he's like, so that I can answer these questions that I have in myself, which is like, am I destined to do bad deeds? And what's the reason for that? Is that because I'm his seed? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And within the documentary, your cousins seem to be like they were a strong unit. Like you went to them first, isn't it, to like tell them what you're gonna go and do. How was that initially, like, when you're having to think like, yeah, I'm gonna do this thing, like, but I can't really go to the old heads and tell them what I'm doing, like, and how did you like deal with that part?
I think it was, I always knew I wanted to do this, so I think the thought has always been in my mind. But to be able to actually vocalize that is when you bring that to action.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky in the sense that I have them who are my age, like my cousins, in order to be able to turn around to them, talk to them and tell them this is something I'm able to do without the fear of being judged and being told, well, why you shouldn't do that, this, that and the other, which I think if I would have experienced, then I would have not, so I might have not have had the courage in order to go over go to Pakistan and meet him for the first time. Like that opportunity that I got to go and do, which is like once in a lifetime, would have been crushed at the moment of somebody else imposing their opinion
Facts.
on what I should be doing. That is better. That is for the betterment of me, not for them. Like an uncle could have turned around, or a cousin could have turned around and be like, I don't think why do you want to do that for? That's cool for them. They can go home and live. Do you know what I mean? I've still got thoughts in the back of my head going, what's my dad like?
Yeah.
This is where I think sometimes, yeah, that because I know there'll be younger people watching this, yeah, and sometimes I think parents can be like, can lead their children to making bad decisions.
Facts.
And the reason for that is they think that they know the answer for their child. But depending on the upbringing of that child can know way more than that parent. And if you allow your parent to make a decision that is for the rest of your life, you have to deal with, I've seen people to this day live with that regret. I'm like, that's a long-term thing that you got to live with. Like, if you're going to go and say you're going to do something, like, really go out and do it. If people telling you, no, you got to have this level of, like, thick skin that is just, like, nothing's cutting through. Like, I need to go and do this because I know it's better for me and myself in the future.
Yeah. Another scene that kind of echoes that is when initially you go take your birth certificate.
Oh, yeah.
And then you find out, you're like, wait, my dad was 50.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, bro, that's like 19,
Yeah.
20 years. Like, you had a moment thinking like, yo, this, I didn't even know
Yeah,
that it was so
that seems
transparent.
mad because you can actually see my brain going, wait, he's old. Like, he's actually old. But it's my brain processing the fact that he's old, bro. Like, he's not what you thought he was. I didn't have any expectations, but I thought, must be like 60s, latest 50s, late 50s, must be like that. Must have had me like 25 years ago. That's cool, that makes sense. To find out it's kind of the age of a grandparent is like, what? It changed my whole approach to the dot once I found out that bit of information in the beginning.
And you specified that, you said you almost felt like, I'm paraphrasing, but you had more compassion because he's an elderly man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if he was younger, it might have been a thing where it's
what
like,
are you saying?
not to that extreme, but it might have been a bit more of like, it might have been more like, I don't know, alpha male syndrome in the room of like, who's gonna, do you know what I mean? Like, who's right?
Yeah. When you went to go see the Three Wise Men, that was interesting because you were like trying to find initially like, did your dad live here? Did your dad live there? And when you went to, I forgot what door, you went to one of, I think the first property you went to.
And I didn't get no answers.
Yeah, but it's like, you must feel like, nah, he's covering.
Yeah.
Was it Urdu that you was?
Yeah, Urdu.
Urdu, right? And when I see the subtitles come on, I said, yo, he's like, look, man, yo, like, I understand if you're covering. And then when he said, like, no, we've been here since 1979. But my thing at that point is, did you think he was bluffing?
I genuinely at that moment, I thought that man was lying to my face. Yeah. And when the cameras turned off, I was like, he's lying.
Because you showed composure, but I was like, by the way you asked, like, you got a good demeanor, bro. But like, you're like,
I'm trying to like really like, I was trying to like obviously be like kind and nice in everything I was doing, but I just felt like he was chatting shit. That's just how I felt. Now looking back on it, at that point, I was getting nowhere. I was knocking on doors. I was banging everywhere. I was asking people. There was no responses, no returns for nothing. So it led me to, I need an answer. So it actually turns out he was telling the truth. I hope anyway. Yeah. We haven't got that down to concrete, but
I felt, because it sounds dumb, yeah, and this is how I would have processed it. And as Nigerian, now there's another Nigerian living in the same house. Like, you don't know the previous Nigerian who was there. That's just like the natural thing, right? That I would have thought. Yeah. So
if there was an inclination of, you know what, when we moved in here, there was this family that came in afterwards. I know that they've moved on there. I would have left a happy man, because I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. We got another lead. We can lead somewhere now. But because that didn't come, I was like, bro, you gotta have something. Like, give me something here. But he was very much like, nah. Yeah. Nothing happened.
And you also talk about your cousin had a similar experience as well.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like, and it seems strange that there was a lot of mirroring. Like you was asking advice, like, how was it for you, like in a car journey, like you was getting really good support in that situation.
I'm lucky for that, because if you have the ability to speak to people who have been through something that you're about to experience or you're about to do, you can get so much like peace of mind with that, because they're going to feel the emotions that you are probably about to experience. So to have a heads up for that was amazing. Obviously with different scenarios and every family situation is different, but yeah, that was cool for me to like be like, all right, I know someone who this has happened to and they've gone and done that. And how did they come out of it? Like what did they learn about themselves, and how better did they feel? Like, did they regret it? Would they do it again? All of them things. And I got answers to all of them, which was good.
I'm back on the Three Wise Men. A real pivotal moment is when you're asking them, like, what's my dad's character like, and why it was pivotal to me, because I'm going back to the poem.
Okay.
Bad seed or deeds,
Bad
whatever.
yeah.
And then they said a word, and I think you interpreted it in the
wrong way. He said something like crafty. No, not crafty, like strong.
Yeah, it was something about, and then it's like, it was the opposite. And
he said, you know what sabr is? So sabr basically means patience.
Yeah.
That's what the word means. So I remember they said, do you know what sabr is? And I was like, oh, he was very patient. Hence, that's what I'm thinking they're going to say. And he's a total opposite. And I'm like, raw, okay. So I'm building a picture of this person.
And you asked them, what do you mean? Like,
like how did you get all of that stuff? Obviously, they have their reasoning because they've like spoken to him or met him back in the day whenever they used to live in the same area. Yeah. But that scene was, bro, I was in full protection mode, that scene. Because literally that's when I felt I'm about to get information that could either go that way or that way. And I'm like fully armoring myself. Like, they could either tell me he's dead. They could tell me that he's like, I don't know, somewhere else. Yeah. I think I was getting ready for them telling me he's dead.
Because you seem that your demeanor kind of like, you're like, yo, how did you know that? Like, no, how are you so sure? I was thinking,
I'm not believing nothing.
Yeah, because before I was thinking like, because you never had any real leads. But at this point here, it's like someone saying yes, and you're like, nah.
I didn't believe. My brain was just like, I don't believe you, man.
You asked like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, you sure?
Yeah. And they're like,
but they seem so. That's the OGs. They were just like, yeah, man, we used to live here with us. Like, what you saying, cuz? Obviously, I'm doing it our way.
No, but like proper, yeah. They were like so calm, so blessed, so warm, caring. Like, bro, I went into their house. They didn't know who I was. Obviously, they saw a camera crew. They wanted to help this young boy. I met them at the mosque. They literally walked me down. They brought out teas. They gave me custard cream biscuits. They were just like, and we don't see those images of people from my community. Yeah. And the reason why like that scene is so pivotal is because a camera has gone into a British Asian household and shown you probably not what happens on a day-to-day basis, but a glimpse of what it's like, especially in the Midlands, for a British Asian family. And that's powerful, bro, because there's not images like that presented in the news media. And if they are...
Not in a positive way.
Nah, and if they are, we all know they're all negative, mainly to fit the status quo and the news agenda that fits in with like the perpetuation of like the Muslim religion and Asians in this country. So yeah, looking back on it, I was just like, wow, they're so loving to be able to do that. But I was just protected because I was like, I don't know whether they're gonna say yes or no, and that's why I kept asking. And I remember their words are, "Wait, you're still not satisfied? We've told you everything. We've given you his address. You're still not satisfied." And then afterwards, I was like, "Bro, I swear." So he's over there. Like, what? So now my brain's like going, "Wow." So now we're gonna go over there, which was mad.
No, because when you asked them the thing of like, how do you know where he is? It's like, we're Asians.
Yeah, we're a bit nosy. Yeah. Because they're taking a mickey out of themselves by saying, look, man, we're Asian, we're nosy people. Human beings, full stop, are nosy people.
Yeah.
But he's just turning around and saying we're nosy people. He actually humanized like an old British Asian living in Birmingham, because people would come with their like stereotypical thoughts of like, what are they like? But he humanized it, which I guess Yeah, you made me look at it in a different way.
Yeah. When you got to when you finally landed in Pakistan, I think the thing that I think it wasn't like the most powerful part of the documentary, but when you initially called your dad
Mm.
and he locked off,
Mm.
and I was like, you know, yeah, your dad's old school. But it's like you interpret it as like, yeah, he said like, yeah, why did you come here?
Yeah,
Like,
literally, like, why here?
yeah, why are you? It's like, I'm your son. I've come to the Pakistan. I'm here. It's like, yo, like,
See, now I can laugh my head off at that, given what's happened, innit? But at the time,
it will look peak.
bro, imagine getting on a flight, like, getting ready to go to your country for the first time, never been before. So, A, you get to go there, you're excited. B, you're about to meet your biological father, who you've never met before, ever.
Yeah.
You get to the country, you make the initial phone call, the camera's on, but I forget about the camera, because I'm just doing my thing. Having this phone call now, I was like, oh, I'm here. Why?
Sorry.
Don't say sorry, bro, because it's mad. It's like that. It's like what? I'm here. I told you I'm coming. Like I'm in the country now.
I'm your son.
It's like yeah, like you gave birth to me, bro. Like I'm here. Like you ready to meet? It's like yeah, no, why are you here? Like go back. But what was really being said there was shit. Fuck. You actually came. I'm so scared right now because I've got all these emotions running through me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to process this. So I'm going to tell you to just go back and then turn the phone off.
Because he ain't ready to deal with it then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I realised that after I turned the phone off.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, wow, cool. That's what I think's happening. Then, obviously after some time, went and chilled, had some food, took in the city. It actually worked out quite well because it allowed me to like see Pakistan in a way that I've never seen before, and then made another phone call, and then it was more like on his terms. She's like, yeah, cool, come, it's fine, you know, it's all right. But when I got there, face to face, everything was dropped. Like it was because when you're communicating sometimes through like phone, email, text, you're not gonna be able to see my honesty and my intention. I've not come to harm you. I've not come to like piss you off. I've not come to do any of that. I've come to literally just ask some questions and then I'm gonna bounce. And then if anything works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'm cool with that. But once people get to see my face and actually understand the authenticity and the honesty that's coming through like my soul,
Facts.
Then it's cool. Then he was like, oh, okay. Actually, he's not out to get any one of us or paint anything negative.
Because he wouldn't have the cameras initially.
Yeah, at all. Yeah. At all. Like, no cameras at all whatsoever.
So, I need to respect your swag, bro. When you went to see your dad, bro, like what you was wearing? No, that white joint.
Yeah, Shawar Kameez.
I need one of them. I'm not even lying.
I love that, bro.
You know you were glowing. Don't even lie. I saw you had to trim it every. You was on
I had
point.
that trim before I went. But the Shawar Kameez I bought from Tooting High Street in South London, saying I'm going to Pakistan, and the lady picked me out like a proper sick, like quilted one. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to meet my dad, so let me spend an extra bit of money and get like a really nice one. But yeah, I saw the shots back and I was like, oh yeah, that Shawar Kameez come out all right, you know.
Yeah, you're listening differently, man.
But he didn't want no cameras
at
all. And I understand that. Like I really do get that, because it's like the camera to me is like my best friend. Do you know what I mean? Like the radio microphone to me is like my best friend. I can be myself in those places. But for other people, it's like...
It's a generational thing.
Exactly, especially someone who's like...
Into my house.
Yeah.
No.
Cameras, no, lock off. But then again, the point I was making before, which is of people seeing you and then being able to judge and make a decision, was that, oh yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, go, if you want to get the camera, yeah, turn it on. Because there was no like, I weren't coming with no malice. If I was coming with malice, then he could easily be like, no cameras.
Do you know, when I saw your dad, first off, your dad's in good shape, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like...
Yeah.
Listen, you've been blessed with genes, because your dad at 78, your dad don't look like no 78-year-old man.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And I think the part when you were like, I got little brothers. And I was like, yo, I thought they were twins at first.
Yeah.
Are they twins or they're like just close in age?
They're close in age.
Yeah, and I was thinking, wait, these kids can't be more than 10.
Yeah, they're not.
Your dad's 78.
Yeah, mad.
I was like...
They have been blessed with good genes, innit?
Come on. Come on. You know, you're thinking, thinking like, just like, you're thinking, Rah, like, you still active?
Yeah, innit? At that age.
At that age.
Yeah, bro. That. I left the trip being. Well, if there's one thing that I've gained and like something that I'm really happy with is that I think I've been blessed with like some real good genes there.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be alright.
Yeah, man. Your little brothers are so cute, though,
Yeah,
man.
proper,
They're
innit?
so cute, man.
One of them, what I think his name, Wakar is his name. He's like spitting image of me when I was like his age.
Is that the one that was crying with?
Yeah, the one who was crying when I was
yeah.
leaving. So like,
Even had that similar kind of like haircut.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, bro. It was crazy because I felt like that was like me at like 5 years old through him, and like we instantly had this like connection, even though we've never met before or whatnot. Like it was just something was there more so than anything else. And yeah, it was hard leaving them, man, because it's like they live a completely different life to what we live here. Completely different.
And you reflect on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're sitting down and you're like, and you're recounting what your grandma did for you, and then when people watch it, if you've seen this and you haven't seen it yet, there's a part where it seems, I'm gonna say it's very archaic, but it's traditional in terms of the way that your dad runs the home, and you're like, they can't leave the house unless he says so. And when I'm looking at your dad, I'm looking thinking like, he just seems like calm. But then when you said like, you can tell he has an anger. I was thinking, but we never saw that.
Saw that, yeah.
But was there something that we didn't see that you saw?
I think it was just more of like kind of like a combination of things that was just like, oh, okay. Can't get to that age and not let things like get to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we all exhibit anger sometimes.
Yep.
And we let it out in different ways. I think there was just things that I saw. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And that's not a negative thing. I think anger is.
It's a human emotion.
Yeah, exactly. You have to control it. Obviously, you can't just be letting off like shouting out at anyone, wherever you want. But it was just something that I wanted to say and show. That would show more of a truthful picture, rather than not put that in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What I mean, when your dad spoke about, because we'll talk about your mum and how things had affected her retrospectively, but when you're speaking to your dad and you're asking him like, look, what come from my mum doing it, like what's this thing, and he's like, they're lying. How do you contend with that information? Because it's like, I know you said that it just seemed like I'm not all the way going to believe you, because that means that they're lying. It's like almost like there may be a mix of the truth.
Like who's lying?
Yeah, like did that not confuse you like as a 25-year-old here and like, I've just met you, I'm asking you what happened with my mum, and you're saying nah, and then but this is what everyone else who's raised me saying about you. Like how do you even reconcile?
Kind of like, I'm lucky like I studied like journalism and like I approached this like a journalistic project to be able to get one side and the other side. And that's what I felt like I was doing whilst I was doing this, is that I've come here to get this person's point of view. Yes, it's my personal story, but once I've got his point of view, I can counteract that with that point of view and be able to form my opinion. Now, if that point of view that is being told to you, you don't think is necessarily the truth, like 100%, how are you going to really come to a honest, like in regards to getting the truth out, how are you really going to be able to get that? But I've learned some people just can't be that honest with themselves. Like they like no matter what happens, like they can't admit to something that could have happened, potentially happened. Like I don't know what it would take for somebody to come out and admit that, but if that's all that you're getting, that's better. That's giving me peace of mind in regards to gone there, found out, this is what he said, this is what I think, I know the other side, cool. I understand everything, let me move forward now. You know what I mean?
When your dad was, I don't know if it was a prayer or just like a little conversation when you're saying to you like look after your little brothers for me. Like, did you, maybe obviously you probably feel proud you got brothers, but did you feel like that's, oh wow, that's another, not a burden, but it's an extra thing that I have to carry. You know, like you now have to potentially, well culturally we do this anyways, but it was like said specifically to you.
Yeah. I think a little bit, yeah. But it was also a moment of like, just come and like reconnected with you. If I was a bum, if I didn't have stuff going on for me, if I weren't doing what I'm doing, like would that still be the same reaction.
Yeah.
So it's just taking that into consideration a little bit, but also I look at it as a blessing as well at the same time, because it's, but I've grown up my whole life as an only child, and I've always wanted like siblings and whatnot. And although they're not like bloods, they're like half. Like that is still a great thing. And it's more, I guess time will tell like what will happen. Do you know what I mean? And how things will pave out to be in regards to like what I'm gonna do with them. I'd be more than happy to help them if I can.
But I also like to say, like, this is me being cynical, not to your dad, but just like the situation in general. There's a young man who's never had a dad. He's had to find his way. He's got himself to a position where he's actually on the BBC. He's relatively doing well. He's now come to see you. You've never really tried to come and see him. And now that he's doing well, he can actually probably now have the expectations of looking after your children that he never knew
were there.
If
they didn't come and knock on his door, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's convenient for him, innit?
It's like, do you know what I mean?
No, I hear you.
So I mean, that's just like, just not necessarily, but just like if you just look at the pieces, it's like, as you said, if you weren't in position.
Exactly. Would that be a thing that he would want me to do? If I was, say, like...
Yo, your dad's house looked nice, you know?
Yeah, it's a good house, isn't it?
It's a good house.
It's a good house.
Brandon, was there a particular reason why he didn't want his wife or his...
It's just a cultural thing.
So she's not to be... Okay.
Yeah, like more like, as in... That generation is a bit more old school in the sense of women on that side, men on that side, no mixing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like way back embedded within like culture and religion.